I have always loved Alfa Romeo, and I think that's a sentiment that is echoed throughout the auto industry, especially amongst semi-exotic, good-to-drive car enthusiasts. It irks me in a funny way when people, well, two things kind of happen, and this is kind of strange, so bear with me. A lot of people kind of blend Maserati and Alfa Romeo as being equals, if you will. But the thing that irks me is that I find that Alfa Romeo is a far more superior product than a Maserati. If mostly, and this is the best part, because Alfa Romeo has always been extremely true to itself. Let's take BMW just for a second, and what they've done is gone mainstream, in the sense that what they were loved for and recognized and idolized for was their driving dynamics, which were equal to none amongst BMW, Audi and Mercedes-Benz and whatever other premium automaker could throw as a competitor to, say, a 3 Series or a 5 Series 25 years ago. But as time progressed, well, they kind of lost that edge, at least in my opinion. But Alfa, it's different. Now, unfortunately, I mean, I love the 164, the Milano. I love the GT, all these Alfa Romeos, which I unfortunately have never had the opportunity to drive. But my minute, tiny sampling, which includes the Stelvio and the Giulia, are in their respective segments the most interesting, most fun to drive, the most involving, the most essence-full. And I don't think Alfa will ever change that. Whereas Maserati, you know, if I go back to that, compromised themselves with the Levante and the Grecale, and whatever. I drove a Gran Turismo years ago, and they don't do anything for me. Same with the Quattroporte, but Alfa is pure in many, many ways. At least I thought so until this came along. Plot twist. Not really. Because, look, it's no secret, it's a very low volume automaker despite being premium, despite being legendary. And what Alfa Romeo needs is an injection of sales, a little bit of volume, and obviously profitability. And in order to do that, in order to gain those things, you need a small crossover with just enough essence of that essence in order to keep people enthused about the brand and the product. However, it needs to be dialed back slightly in order to get some volume, because the Giulia, which is my favorite mid-size premium entry-level car amongst 3 Series, A4, C-Class, though the C-Class is really, really close second. Where was I going with this? Right. This needs to appeal to all, from the fans to new buyers. And they've done it. They've absolutely done it. I mean, we're going to go over the styling of the Tonale, which I may call toenail, but I try not to. I'm terrible. Yeah, we're going to go over the styling. It's a hit or miss for me, and the drive is a hit or miss too. But I'm selling myself short, you know, front loading the video as always. This thing is still pretty damn cool, and for the price, there's actually value involved in this. I've said so much, I've said nothing. So, you know, if you want to hear more, nothing, but with a little bit of information, please hang in there. And here we go. All right, let's dive right into styling. I mean, the selling point of any Alfa is always the front end. The V Scudetto grille and these LED Trilobo headlights are just beautiful. When you see this coming up, you're thinking exotic, fast, expensive, all rolled into one. Now, I'm trying to find visual problems with this, and the real only problem I can find is that it should have been a hatchback, because that's what it looks like. It's got 6.1 inches of ground clearance, but it doesn't need it, right? It just should have been a little bit lower to the ground, it would have been even more attractive visually. And rear end is lovely. It's got the same type of triple 3+3 tail lights, LEDs. It's a very good looking small crossover. Pricing in the US, so they only get the plug-in hybrid version unless I can't read, which is altogether possible. So it starts at, for the Sprint, $43,845. Any top trim, the Veloce is $51,040. Canada, we get a 2-liter turbo on top of the plug-in hybrid version, and this is the 2-liter, so I'm going to focus solely on that. $48,790 for the base Sprint, which includes 18-inch wheels, 12.3-inch digital IP, 10.25-inch touchscreen, 18-inch wheels, wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, heated seats and steering wheel, Q4 all-wheel drive. And my tester, as you may have spotted, is a Veloce, which starts at $50,296. With that, you get 19-inch wheels, power liftgate, adjustable suspension, leather. My tester, as you can very well see, is Alfa Rosso. And it's got an active assist package and a few other things, including the 20-inch wheels. I mean, these wheels are so Alfa Romeo. You know, like Alpina. When you see their wheels or these wheels, you know what brand you're looking at. So this one is almost $54,000, which doesn't seem like enough money for it, but this is what I meant by value. Let's take a quick look inside. Hopefully I can open the hatch the first time, because I seem to be, there we go, got it. So that's 500 liters of boot space. Good size pocket under here. Room for a lot of stuff. Not very wide, not very deep, but functional. Will that work? Yes, that worked. That works 1 out of 2 times, by the way, the button. Okay, so this is a compact-ish crossover. Room for 2 in the back, not a real problem. Between the 2 seats, well, now the kids like to read books, but there's no room for another human. But, you know, it's Italian, so fit finish is quite nice. It's plain, but it's very functional, very attractive, I have to say. Really can't find anything wrong with it. Alfa steering wheel, one of my most absolute favorite steering wheels in the industry. These are the leather seats, which are fantastic. The bolstering is incredible. The quality, it's just amazing. Power lumbar. Let's jump right in and start it up. So there's a 12.3-inch display. We can start right there. There are different settings to it. So there you go. Yeah. See, I like this one with the reverse tack. I don't know, I just think that's pretty neat. Love this pod, like the little shades over the gauges. 10.25-inch display, which for the most part has been relatively reliable. It's strange to say, I wasn't expecting this. My fingers are frozen. Yeah, those are very necessary right now. It's been working out quite nice. Wireless phone charger, as always, I am cabled. Shifter, there's anything wrong with that, except if you're one of those people that have the bad habit of keeping your hand on the shifter, it drops into manual mode with little to no effort. So, you know, be mindful of that. Otherwise, you know, quick access to HVAC, it's superb. The dashboard is beautiful. I love the way it's just set up. It's very beefy and very strong. There is one issue, however. Oh, I didn't really talk about storage. Not much to speak of. Always love that. Hey, you get that in my Golf. Hey, how about that? Nah, I didn't say anything. Yeah, so visibility, this is a little bit of a problem because look how massive the base of the A-pillar is. That's a little bit of an issue when you're making that 90-degree turn. Just another shot of the steering wheel because it's so nice. It is superb. Flat bottom, thin spokes, fat, grippy. It's just marvelous. And the drive is worth it. Oh yeah, ooh, almost forgot. There's your DNA drive modes, right? So this is efficiency, if you will. Normal, dynamic, the fun button. And this is your adjustable dampers, which I'll just show you. There you go. So you get them in sport when you go into dynamic, and you can turn them off, which is a really, really cool function. I think that's enough. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Okay, you obviously noticed that it's snowing today. Yeah, late February, no snow, plus 10 degrees Celsius. Late March, minus 10 centimeters of snow. But, you know, the reason why I bring it up like that is because it has enabled me to experience how freaking fun the Q4 all-wheel drive system is. Now, there is no proof, except for I'm not admitting anything, but I'm just saying that in these slippery surfaces, the Q4 all-wheel drive system will instantly want to send power in the rear, enabling grins, many grins, and it's instantaneous transfer of torque and power. It's wow, lots of fun. And I think that kind of summarizes the whole of the Tonale, which when you blend in, again, the value and the styling. So as I noted, in Canada, we have a 2-liter turbocharged version as well as the plug-in hybrid. So the plug-in hybrid itself is a turbocharged 1.3-liter 4-cylinder engine with electric motors and all that. And if I'm not mistaken, the output is something around 350 pound-feet of torque and 285 horsepower. So 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is very decent, 6.1 seconds if I'm not mistaken. Electric range is not quite 50 kilometers, which is unfortunate, especially when you consider that the less expensive 2-liter turbo on premium fuel will deliver 268 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, will enable this 3,600 pound SUV, give or take, to launch 200 kilometers per hour in only 6.5 seconds. Oh, what's the catch? The plug-in hybrid weighs about 600 pounds more and won't give you more than 50 kilometers of range. I haven't driven the plug-in hybrid, but I can almost assure you that this is the version to get. Also because it sounds really good. Fuel consumption, I'm surprised. I'm averaging under 11 liters per 100 kilometers. Yeah, for a small-ish SUV. My goodness, that were slippery. But I'm gonna say that's pretty damn good. Okay, the downside. Q4, awesome. 2-liter, awesome, sounds good, but the 9-speed automatic transmission reminds me in good. Well, it reminds me of the old 9-speed from like the Cherokee and the Renegade, where it's lazy upon when it's supposed to take off. It's programmed in such a way, at least I think, to preserve itself. Because with a minimal amount of throttle input, it will not take off. Even in dynamic, obviously it's sharper, but in normal, it is slow. Oh, and if you want to do a 3-point turn, give yourself 3 minutes. Because the reverse to drive and drive to reverse and the reverse, it's annoying, very, very annoying. However, unlike the old 9 speeds, this is a great, wow. The old 9 speeds were just unpleasant all the time. This one is, at the very least, kind of pleasant otherwise. It shifts nicely, and in manual mode it likes to play along, and honestly, this brings up the next point. Oh yeah, Brembo brakes, standard on this thing. Brembo calipers. Which kind of comes, this ties into the essence, the purity of Alfa Romeo, because you don't necessarily put Brembo brakes on any run-of-the-mill car, because most of us as consumers, it is slippery, I love it, are used to very grabby brakes. These are not grabby whatsoever. You have to roll onto the brake pedal, and then they start to grip, and they progressively start clamping down on the disc, which is something I absolutely love. But most drivers will probably find this slightly disconcerting when they apply the brakes the first few times. I love it. Steering too, very, very nice. On center play is minimal. Yeah, I see. I thought that maybe that was the highlight, but I don't know. The adjustable dampers. So it's McPherson struts front and rear with adjustable dampers. So there's comfort and dynamic. In dynamic, it's a little bit harshish, especially on roads like this, which I don't think that for most countries would actually be classified as a road. because it's terrible. But in comfort, these dampers, this chassis, this suspension is amazing. And I'm on 20-inch wheels. Given the weight, the chassis, the dampers, and all of that, this thing is extremely nimble, very playful, and train tracks. That was train tracks. I started out not liking this because my first initial experience was the damn 9-speed transmission that was slow. But if you get over that just enough, this thing is a little bit of a lot of a hoot. I mean, there's nothing comparable amongst the Japanese automakers. This may take on an X1. I haven't driven the new X2. It's nowhere near a Macan, but it's not the same price range either. Or Q3. Again, Alfa is offering what is the most driver-oriented, compelling, and, well, for everyone else except me, the most attractive, physically, small, compact-ish, premium, sporty SUV. It won't be very reliable. I'm telling you now, with the transmission, I'm terrified. I would be terrified. However, this has all worked. Door locks kind of have always worked. The hatch button only works 1 out of 2 times. Obviously, as I shoot the video, it's working. But look, bottom line is it's another fantastic product from Alfa Romeo, like the Giulia, like the Stelvio. They need more love. Just take one for a spin if you want this type of vehicle. And as I fade into the darkness, I say goodbye.